The WWE returned to the house the McMahons built with a living legend as its host for Raw. Hello everyone, this is Billy. Welcome to Billy's Wrestling Insight and Video Game Reviews. Today is Tuesday, November 17th, 2009. And before we get started today, I'd like to address a comment made by Gypsy Ange on yesterday's show. Gypsy Ange complimented and said good stuff here, even though, as you see on the screen here, he used a little bit of a different word, a word I'm not going to repeat, but it was still a nice compliment. So Gypsy Ange, thank you very much. Today is Tuesday. That means it is time for the Raw Inside of the Week. And I'd like to start off by addressing Raw's new theme, Burn It to the Ground, by a band called Nickelback. Now, folks, I listen to a ton of country music, hardly anything else. Maybe Weird Al, as you guys can hear for our theme song. I'm not very familiar with Nickelback. I don't know any of their songs. I never heard of them before. But their Burn It to the Ground song for Raw, I'm not buying it too much. I like the theme the way it was. The theme song for Raw was good as is, and I think this was a bad decision by the WWE to change it to this song. But as I stated in the opening, WWE returned to Madison Square Garden last night with Roddy Piper as the host. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Hot Rod returned to the WWE last night. Excuse me. And I will say this, Roddy Piper, compared to WrestleMania 25, Roddy Piper looked a lot better. He looked like he was in great shape. And he actually challenged Vince McMahon to a fight, and he wanted to do it that night. And Vince McMahon looked like he was just mad dogging him around, trying to get her out of it. Beat around the bush, say anything else he can to try to get out of this. But apparently it looked like it was going to happen. However, the son of Ace Cowboy Bob Orton, Roddy Piper's former sidekick, Randy Orton, decides to come out and pretty much spoil everyone's evening. Orton decided to assault Roddy Piper, I guess on behalf of his father. And he was about to punt Roddy Piper right in the skull when who should come out but Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston pretty much took it to the Viper, and at one point hit him with the lid of a steel, I want to say like case or something of that nature, I believe it was. And then he did the boom 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 double leg drop on Orton through a table. And I gotta tell you this, I'm getting really proud of Kofi. Kofi has come out on his own, standing up for himself and making a name for himself. And unfortunately for Orton, is at the expense of him. But Orton needs to now know this valuable lesson. Kofi will not back down from anybody, including Orton himself. Think back to what Kofi Kingston did to Randy Orton's custom-made little car that the Legacy Girls, yes, you heard me right, the Legacy Girls decided to present to him. Kofi Kingston, I can tell you what, Kofi Kingston gets my star of the week. Now, Jack Swagger beats Evan Bourne last night, and that was kind of predictable. Jack Swagger wanting revenge for Evan Bourne beating him last week in the UK. I mean, come on, I'm not going to talk about that too much. Sheamus, a.k.a. the giant Celtic bottle of milk. A ton of my friends call him a Celtic ghost. the whitest guy on Raw right now. I am just so disappointed and frustrated about what this young man is doing. What purpose does it prove to assault the timekeeper? None. What purpose does it prove? What does it prove to assault Jerry the King Lawler? Nothing. Well, scratch that. What it proves to me is that Sheamus is nothing but a giant yellow, white, sneaky coward who's proud of his actions as of late. I'll tell you what, he's the only one that's proud of himself. Nobody else is proud of him. DX stuck it to Hornswoggle last night. And Hornswoggle should have seen it coming. That's the key word in that statement I just made. Should have seen it coming. But he got sucked in by all the glitz and the glamour of wanting to be in DX. And to be honest with you, I honestly thought they were going to let him in. But as I stated before, with Hornswoggle's not going to be a good member of DX. I mean, come on. The WWE needs to do a better job than that. But really took me by surprise is how Triple H was able to pedigree Hornswoggle last night. That was amazing. I didn't think he could do that. Alright, I have a couple of news announcements before I get to the main event that happened on Raw last night. According to my sources on Twitter, Jamie Noble has retired from in-ring action due to injuries he suffered to his back, neck, and shoulder. But he said he will not be leaving the WWE, but he will stay with them in a backstage capacity. And Bailey's Wrestling Insight and Video Game Reviews would like to wish Macho Man Randy Savage a very happy birthday. This past Sunday, the Macho Man turned 57. Now on to the awesome, colossal, super spectacular main event from last night. The triple threat tag team match between Jericho, DX, and Cena and The Undertaker. Now, the only team that I thought would be at a disadvantage would be Cena and The Undertaker, considering that Jericho is the unified tag team champions, and DX has so much experience working with another. But, that turned to be their downfall. DX and Jericho, they were both consumed by each other's greed. Well, Jericho more. DX not so much. The match ended when Triple H threw Undertaker over the top rope. It wasn't a battle royal, but he threw him over the top rope. Triple H was distracted. Cena came up from behind him and hit the attitude adjustment and got the win. Now, I will give this. That was a 5-star main event for Raw last night. What I don't understand is why Undertaker tombstoned Cena after the match. I figured, a win's a win, whether you get it or your partner gets it. So why would Undertaker be upset? Or is he just proven to think that he's the better champion? Hard to tell. But, we have Survivor Series coming up this Sunday. So we will see which champion comes out on top in their triple threat match. Well, that's all for today, folks. Tune in tomorrow for my ECW Inside of the Week. I'm Billy, and you've been listening to Billy's Wrestling Insight